Good evening. Apologies for the later start, but we are here and ready to go. My name is John T. Claypole. I'm CEO of Red Room Poetry, and I'm honoured to invite Uncle Michael West to the stage. Michael West is a member and cultural representative of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, who are the traditional custodians of the land, air, water and culture within their boundaries. He is a member of the Stolen Generations and is an Aboriginal man of the Gamilaroi Nation.
I'm just going to say, look, I like poems play a very important part in our society, and the artists play a very important part in our society. If we want to have a strong democracy, then we need poems, we need artists, we need intellectuals, and we need free media. We can see what happens when that's not happening around the world. When we look at some of the bin fires, when you think about it. Dumpster fires, yes. I was going to say too, Bujadi Gamarua, here's where we are as Gadigal, obviously. I'm one of the 29 clans of the Eora Nation. And I've also, one of the things we've been thinking and we've been discussing lately is about how our totems haven't been respected. Our totems need to be respected, and the animals all need to be respected because there's that deep connection to country, to the animals and everything. What I was going to say, look, out here, when you walk out here, you see a white bird, black tail feathers, long neck and a long beak. Yes, I'm talking about the sacred ibis. I was just at a Sphinx the other day. Was a commemoration of soldiers in World War One. Unfortunately, when Aboriginal people went away to fight, we always didn't come back, and we weren't respected and we didn't get the same rights as other soldiers, even though we fought for country. And I was saying the Egyptian culture has the sacred ibis too. The ibis has had a similar journey to Aboriginal people. It's been dispossessed of country because we haven't cared for country. The last 200 plus years hasn't been caring for country. They've come to the city to live. I remember when they weren't here in the city, up in the park up here, but they've had to come and live here now with us, and they're being marginalised for their own situation. People calling them bin chickens and that. It's not their fault. It's your fault as humans. You're supposed to be the intelligent species, but are you? Yes. I look at TV at night and it's not always the case, is it? No. We need to be smarter and we need to care for country. We need to look after her. And look, this weather today, with the hot weather we've been having the last week, it both makes me sad too, because I'm thinking that who pays the price for us not caring for country? It's some of the animals and that. You think of the polar bears don't have their ice anymore. We killed a whole generation of happy feet last year. Yes, that did happen. What are you going to say to your children and your grandchildren? I think it's important to think about that. We need to understand that we're the custodians of the planet. We need to look after it. I was just at Parliament House the other week where they had young puppy dingoes, and I had a dingo as a friend when I was young in the city here. And it wasn't a pet, it was my friend. Unfortunately, because of the laws, the government laws, I had to give the dingo to someone who lived in the country, which was painful for me because it was a good friend. And now dingoes are considered pests. They're like Aboriginal people. Aboriginal people considered pests, weren't we? Yes, hunted down just as they are, shot just as they are, poisoned our water holes and our blankets just like the dingoes are poisoned, and they're also scalped. Their fur has been taken. This is truth-telling. We need to be honest and we need to be telling the truth. So they had a price on their head just as we had a price on ours, and the younger ones had a higher price. This is the history we have, and we need to be honest in these conversations. We need to be truthful and looking in the mirror and saying, look, we've got an okay country, but we can have a great country if we all look at each other and have those tough conversations of truth-telling. I'm not trying to traumatise you, I just want you to know the truth, and we need to think about these parallels. It's important we take a moment's silence to pay respect to ancestors, pay respect to Mother Earth. Everything comes from Mother Earth. All our clothes, all our food, all our buildings comes from Mother Earth. And we haven't been respecting her. Let's get back to respecting her. And then also, we need to remember those we've lost going through the pandemic. We've still got a ways to go. I have to head off straight from here because one of our other people from the Land Council actually got COVID, their whole group today. So it's still around. We need to remember our communities are vulnerable, and chronic care for our elders and that is so important. Remember paying respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander traditional owners, elders and custodians of the past and present for looking after country, spirit of country and culture. And then remember we can always do better as humans, and about centering ourselves and reflecting our journey here and paying respects. So we just have a moment's silence, a moment of reflection, a moment of paying respects. Thanks. We have those three beautiful rivers. Mother, the rain falls from heavenlands on Mother, finds its way to the rivers and the ocean. We have the Hawkesbury, Nepean and Georges, which are the aquatic boundaries of the Eora Nation. On behalf of Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council members and elders, welcome everyone here. Let's continue the tough conversations that we need to have. We want everyone to enjoy tonight. I'm sure there's going to be some great poetry here. I've been here many times and listened to wonderful people, and I see some people in the audience that I know, and I saw as young people when I found my family at the Land Council, and I know their mums quite well and their dads, and they were respectful to me, and we always had some good yarns together. And I hope everyone has a great night. Challenge your thoughts, and let's make this a great country, because we can see around the world when we don't treat each other with dignity and respect, no matter what postcode you're born in, the gender you identify, and the colour of your skin, the shape of your eyes, how it can really turn bad into a dumpster fire. Yes, as we see around the world. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land, never ceded. Turn the page, enjoy tonight. I'll leave you with those thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Uncle Michael West. Challenge our thoughts and turn the page. What a fantastic welcome to country. Thank you very much. Welcome to the library, a place for readers, writers, researchers, and indeed poets, for curious minds and exploring ideas. I'm Caroline Butler-Bowden and lucky enough to be the State Librarian. You're always welcome here, and I hope you take time after tonight's event to enjoy the galleries and the many rooms within the library. So tonight we're in the library's auditorium. Welcome to those people who perhaps haven't been here yet. It's about 9 months old. We're nestled below the Mitchell Library reading room, and it's one of our 2 reading rooms, and tonight is full of students and researchers and, let's hope, writers, and some of them reading and writing poetry, I hope. It's a special place here, special vessel, I suppose, for holding stories and for sharing stories, which we're going to do tonight. I worked with Red Room Poetry about 10 years ago when I worked at Historic Houses Trust. So it's an enormous delight to welcome them back in partnership, working with us on tonight's National Poetry Month Gala, and also on the Contains Strong Language Poetry and Performance Festival, which launched last night. The library, of course, is a place of knowledge and discovery, and it's a rare opportunity tonight, I think we all agree, to be in a room with such outstanding minds. Over the next 48 hours, there's an exciting range of events happening in this room as well as other spaces. The BBC and ABC, of course, are recording shows with many of our finest poets and performers for broadcast on their services, including a special service on the World Service, which will reach 200 countries across the globe. If you haven't reserved tickets, Jonty, I know, would like me to be saying this, as that I urge you to do so, because many are selling out. Your support really matters, of course, to create a thriving and meaningful Sydney, and underscoring how much pride we take at the library in being a creative and intelligent city, and of course state. So I'm delighted to introduce you now to someone who does so much to support the arts in our state. He spends his days and his nights, I think he's probably rarely home, championing the work of all our art forms. And of course, the nighttime economy, music and so many other things, and of course, roads. He also champions, well, do you champion roads, Minister? I don't know. Anyway, he's got an enormous portfolio. He champions this library. He's a great lover of libraries and indeed champions the work of the 363 libraries right across New South Wales. And of course, tonight he'll champion poetry, which of course we're all here to celebrate. Welcome, Minister John Graham, Minister for the Arts, and of course all the other great things in the state of New South Wales, including roads.
Thanks so much, Carolyn, and I promise I won't be advocating for the road system tonight at this particular event. I really want to thank Uncle Michael, though, for that welcome to country. It's both the honesty but also the warmth, all at the one time, that I think makes that so special. And I'd like to acknowledge that we're here on Gadigal land, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay respect to elders past and present. Firstly, thank you to Red Room for inviting me to speak at such an exciting moment for poetry in Australia. And could you firstly join me in thanking Jonty and all the team for the work they've done to make this possible. And by an exciting moment, I mean this moment tonight, the next few days with the Contain Strong Language Festival, this month with the start of Poetry Month, and in the longer term, the healthy state of poetry in Australia. Starting with tonight, this gala event has an incredible lineup. It's hard to know who to single out, but to have Paul Kelly performing, to be joined by the UK's Poet Laureate Simon Armitage, and to hear from Cobby Eckermann, the Book of the Year winner, it's going to be a special night. So the next few days, the Contain Strong Language Festival is putting an incredible spotlight on the Australian poetry community. Now, the New South Wales arts policy was called Creative Communities when it was launched last year, and poetry in New South Wales is built on smaller communities like Sweatshop, Word Travels and Westwords. And through the Contain Strong Language Festival, poets from these communities will have their voices heard on stages around Sydney and broadcast to the global poetry community across BBC Radio. It's incredible that starting with our grassroots poetry groups here in Sydney through bigger organisations like Red Room, we can have this chain of community right through to the global radio audience where people in 200 countries can hear the words, the ideas and the stories of poets here in Australia. It really is a big moment. Now, it's safe to say that the Australian poetry scene has come a long way since the days of Banjo Patterson. We're seeing the rise of Indigenous poetry, recognised by a number of prizes, including our own Premier's Literary Awards, which awarded Book of the Year to Cobby Eckermann's book of poetry, She Is the Earth. Exactly. And we've witnessed the intersection with hip-hop culture and the rise of slam poetry, which has brought new voices and new communities into poetry. That's also helped poetry spread from the page to the stage and to our screens. We've seen social media blow open the opportunities for sharing poetry. And of course, the other exciting development, which I know people are really aware of, is the federal government announcing that we're about to start our own National Poet Laureate tradition from next year. So as you can see, it's an exciting time, an exciting moment, an exciting night for Australian poetry. On behalf of the government, I'm delighted to be here to support it. Have an amazing Poetry Month. Have a great night.
I am not as tall as I thought I was. I was like, oh my gosh, the mics are going to be really low for me. Not. Hi everyone, my name is Chika Ikogwe. I am an actor and writer, and I'm a plantain enthusiast as well, so I do take bribes in the form of plantain if you ever get on my bad side. I'm going to be your MC for tonight. Please give it up for all of the organisers of this amazing event. I'm just going to kick us right off. Why waste any time? First up, we have Paul Kelly. Paul Kelly, yeah, come on. Yes. Paul Kelly is one of Australia's greatest and most enduring songwriters. Throughout Kelly's career, the craft, the passion for getting up each day and working on the next thing have been mostly under the surface, creating a legacy which chronicles the full range of the human experience. For that reason, his work will live on, like the stories of Henry Lawson, the collected works of Slim Dusty, and the poetry of Judith Wright. Please give it up for Paul.
Thanks, Chika. Thanks, Uncle Michael, for that welcome to Gadigal land. It's an honour to be here and to be among lovers of poetry and all these wonderful poets. I was asked to do two things tonight. One was to read a poem by an author that I loved, and also to do a song. So I'll do them separately, but I mean, there will be, I won't do the poem, the song. I'm going to go sit down and come back later. But I'm going to start with a poem, and I'll finish with a song. And I was thinking about how to make, just how to pair them, how to link them up. The song I want to do is a love song from a child to a father. So I was thinking, what would go well with that? What poem would go well with that? And I thought of Judith Wright, of course. I'm pleased to find out that we're going to have another Judith Wright poem later on, but it won't be the same one, because we checked. So this is Woman to Child. You who were darkness warmed my flesh, where out of darkness rose the seed. Then all the world I made in me, all the world you hear and see, hung upon my dreaming blood. There moved the multitudinous stars, and coloured birds and fishes moved. There swam the sliding continents. All time lay rolled in me, and sense, and love that knew not its beloved. O node and focus of the world, I hold you deep within that well. You shall escape and not escape. That mirrors still your sleeping shape, that nurtures still your crescent cell. I wither and you break from me, yet though you dance in living light, I am the earth, I am the root, I am the stem that fed the fruit, the link that joins you to the night.
Thank you so much, Paul. Next up, we have Felicity Plunkett. So Felicity is an award-winning poet and critic living on Wongal land. She's the author of A Kinder Sea, Vanishing Point, and the chapbook Sea Strands, published in Vagabond's Press Rare Objects series. She also edited 30 Australian poets. Please give it up for Felicity.
Thank you, Chika. You are amazing. Respect to Gadigal elders. And thanks to everyone here, to Red Room, Contains Strong Language, and love to all my fellow poets. Without her. When a body is found on a bike path, when a body is found in a garbage tip, where a body lies under a bridge, over a border, in the basement of a suburban home, washed up on a beach, without her hands, without her clothes, without her name, the story can begin. Without her, there's no story,
No cast-off stitches at the wrist of a jumper, knitted rib by rib, neat. Without her, the cast fidgets and scrolls, unravels. The cast of light across the bank that held her breath falters, wintry. She set off for school. She set off after her nursing shift. She set off for the laundromat, as though all women ever do is set off. Then someone stops us. Last seen sitting at the bus stop. Last seen buying chips on her way home. Last seen getting into a car with all the seeing of women, all that's invisible, hands, history, hopes, all that bright violence casts her into a place where there is no way she can speak, nor a way to leave. The gag, the lies. Without her clothes, there is nothing between her body and the lens, the watching, the want, without her, gazing at the puzzle of her limbs night after night, sofa juror, Uber Eats sleuth, amateur forensic crew. Now someone's cut out of her own life. Now someone who survived the raised arm, the blade, the wheel of falling strap, flinches. Now someone's secrets squirm and shriek. Don't tell. What's as real as night terrors, sharpening their teeth in your body, flooding your blood the way a disused tunnel floods and flushes her body to the bank? Police find your body and take it apart. The puzzle, the job. Don't tell them it was you. There's a skull buried under the apple tree. The bones of a hand roll up one by one from the deep dirt. When a body gives up its secrets, cell by cell, I sure as hell won't tell. Tender. Let me be tender. Let me soften my hold. Give up topiary and dogma. Let me be tender as light, dark breaking to dusk glisk, and water, enough to nourish, not burn, swamp. Let me be tender, calm. Let me loosen harm from my body, the garden, the whole world's yard. Let me be tender enough to leave untended what blossoms without my zealous hand, my watering can. Let me be tender, the way a plant ally floats close over the footpath, giving itself balm. Let me be tender, mother of chamomile, champion of lavender, whirl and corolla of a daughter's laughter. Let me be tender, a gentle evictor of what scoffs basil at night, reduces to skeleton anyone's freedom. Let me be tender as a nurse among nurses, from axle to bract, quiet on my feet, a pact to be attentive. Let me honour the trace of her cells forever in my tissues, blood, and to all that heals, let me be tender. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felicity, for that powerful reading. Next up, we have Cobby Eckermann. Ali is a Yankunytjatjara poet and artist from South Australia whose work has been published and celebrated around the world. She's won many literary awards, including the 2017 Wyndham Campbell Prize from Yale University, and not once, but twice winning the New South Wales Premier's Literary Award Book of the Year in 2014 and most recently in 2024. Please put your hands together for Ali.
I too want to pay respects to Gadigal and remind everyone that this entire continent is sacred land. Some of us were stolen, but we are so much stronger because our spirit is also unseated. My family is Yankunytjatjara, and our poetry is free of form, but always about truth-telling. And we forage on these blood-stained hills, hills that roll smooth and treeless with truth, as a warmth arrives on the ancestral wind, mouthing memories of their blood and mine. I carry the prized digging stick of my grandmother, her handprint and my handprint combined, a promise of happiness. I follow her here, incarnate by history and this new child inside. And we forage on these blood-stained hills, searching for the bird sounds she once heard, to locate the songline that she once walked, the wooden digging stick, our compass of hope. As the wind whispers nouns we had not heard, as we resuscitate language names into life forms, the blood-stained hills reveal the pathway. Day and night meld, and we are never alone. We forage to nurture the knowledge of land. Every hill is a life soul that has given its blood, scattered by winds from the heavens above, and a slow, gentle wind unveils the song. And the old mulga stick vibrates in my hand, and a rush of birdsong leads us to water. We crouch to drink and crouch to birth. Soon we will separate from one to another. The blood of birth is the blood that unites us. This daughter is my grandmother, and I am the hills, nourished by eternal winds and eternal words, the songline sung into our hearts and our souls, and the songs worn of happiness and harm as I hold my daughter close to my chest. The rolling hills are the desire for content. The stain of mining is the newborn threat. So swiftly the present can return to the past as water turns to drought and the singing birds flee. The digging stick has turned serpent and slid away, her handprint replaced to thrive in my heart. And the wind whips and wails with its love for us as the songline subsides back into the earth, like the blood of death and the blood of birth. We remain to forage on these blood-stained hills. See you, I said to the children, as I memorised their Anagal faces, filled with laughter and trust for family, innocent in their youth and strong in culture. See you, I said to the elders, as the tears flow in my heart and I bend down to shake their hands and gain my strength by skin. See you, I said at Maralinga, and the dust from my car as I drove away was like a ribbon across the desert sand, tying me to that place forever.
Thank you so much, Ali. That was so beautiful. They told me I could use either this mic or that, so I'm just changing it up because we're moving. Next up, we've got Julia Baird. So Julia is a Sydney-based journalist, broadcaster and author. Julia's latest book, Bright Shining, was shortlisted for the Australian Book Industry Award for Non-Fiction Book of the Year. Julia lives near the sea with her 2 children and a really big dog, which I would like to meet one day. And Julia also has a podcast on ABC called Not Stupid. Please welcome Julia to the stage.
Not sure which one to choose. How extraordinary this night is. And I want to pay respects again to the original storytellers and inhabitants of this land, the Gadigal elders. It's an honour to be asked here by Red Room, thank you, and an honour to be in this lineup of these exquisite wordsmiths who care so much about what they do. I've been thinking a lot about honour lately, and not the honour of thieves or scouts or gentlemen or sportsmen, how we normally talk about it, the honour of poets and writers, and how we pay tribute to each other, and how we remind the world that poets lived and they mattered and they said things that were important. And I want to honour two women tonight. And the first is Judith Wright. Excellent choice here by Paul. We were like in the green room, like, oh no, which one are you doing? Judith, for her ferocious intellect and for her prescience and for the fact that she told us to look at what had happened to the First Nations people. She told us to listen to country and she told us to care about the environment. I want to read her poem, Sanctuary. Ever since I read this when I was 15 years old, it has stayed with me. The road beneath the giant original trees sweeps on and cannot wait. Varnished by dew, its darkness mimics mirrors and is bright behind the panic eyes the driver sees caught in headlights. Behind the wheels, the night takes over and only the road ahead is true. It knows where it is going and we go too. Sanctuary, the sign said, sanctuary. Trees, not houses. Flat skins pinned to the road of possum and native cat. And here the old tree stood for how many thousand years? That old gnome tree, some axe-new boy cut down. Sanctuary, it said. But only the road has meaning here. It leads into the world's cities like a long fuse laid. Fuse, nerve strand of a net, tense bearer of messages, snap-tight violin string, dangerous knife edge laid across the dark. What has that sign to do with you? The immense tower of antique forest and cliff, the rock where years accumulate like leaves, the tree where transient birds and mindless insects sing. The word the board holds up is sanctuary, and the road knows that notice boards make sense, but has not time to pray. Only up there, morning sets doves upon the power line, swung on that fatal voltage like a sign, and meaning love, perhaps they are a prayer. The second woman I'd like to honour tonight is Candy Royale. A fireball wrapped in skin. She was a woman who burned and who touched everyone around her. She changed me in the short time that I knew her. She called herself a hurricane, not a zephyr. She would have had so much to say about what's going on in the world right now. She described herself as a seeker, collaborator, superhero, supremely fallible, and a human being. When I met her, she had not been well. And this is a poem that she delivers, if you ever want to look up online, in a YouTube video, and she talks about how she'd just been diagnosed with ovarian cancer at 37. She was going to shave all her hair off, that massive, beautiful, big braid of all those dreadlocks and plaits and knots. And as she delivered the poem, her hair was being shaved. And she was coming to terms with it. And her friends were standing around her grave, participating and holding her. And this is the word she said at that time. This is poetry, a stream of connected consciousness. I stress that I try to create work that releases hurt in people because experienced alone, pain makes us feeble. This is a collective experience where we explore the human condition, both dark and in all its brilliance. We are more resilient than they lead us here to believe. Self-determination means we can conceive a world where empathy and compassion are ingrained actions, tolerance, a practiced passion, a place where we know it's okay to be weak. We're fallible. It's part of what makes us unique. Perfection is a fallacy. More financial wants, pure fantasy. Life's more rich for those not perpetuating agony. I know that heaviness that comes from being empty. Believe me, I've been broken plenty. There are parts of my mind I still deny. If I could tap into that, I'd be the greatest writer that's ever been. If I could unblock this, I'd be the greatest woman that's ever lived. So lend me your ears, it's redundant now, fear. Lend me your heart, they're about to be broken open. These spoken tokens are far more than slogans. Chosen in moments where hope was fading but never faded. This heart never learnt to hate, instead chose to create, to stimulate debate, refused to remain sedate. I'll make shade when it gets too hot by sharing poetry and song with you, the important lot. People have power, it's more true than not. We don't have to be locked behind divisive lines. If I was king of the world and all the world was mine, I'd say above all there's only one law, and that law is love.
Thank you so much, Julia, for those very powerful pieces. Next up, we have Hasib Hourani. Hasib is a Lebanese-Palestinian writer, editor, arts worker, and educator living on Wongal country in Sydney. His work has been published in Mianjin, Overland, Australian Poetry and Cordite, amongst others. Hasib's debut book, Rock Flight, has recently been published by Giramondo. Please put your hands together for Hasib.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be reading two poems today. The first one was a commission for Red Room's Poetry Month. I am based on Wongal country now, but I also want to acknowledge that I, up until recently, was living on Wurundjeri country. So that land has held me for the better part of 6 years. And I started writing this poem right on the cusp of a move between there and here. And it's titled, "You Can Start Anywhere, You'll Still Hit All the Service Stations." The laptop bag is red. I got it for free from a friend who got it for free. New things are not all that common, I suppose. My neighbors speak Portuguese. The calathea loses another leaf. The heat wave runs like an old fridge. The old fridge is mostly empty. Droning. We watch the tennis. How fast is that little green blur? Could whip me interstate and I'd get there by midday. What a game. And poor old Medvedev, but he's such a good sport. Knows what it's like to be caught in a feedback loop. Takes it on the chin like a hero. Droning, we watch the tennis, but mostly I'm elsewhere. My parents' blue Micra, the upstairs bedroom, yesterday, the week after next. The walls start talking to each other. We fill the boxes with books and fodder. The carpets become useless. The apartment echoes. When I left home, I brought a tin box of objects I'd been saving. Coasters, a fridge magnet, plastic stars that glow in the dark, 18-year-old items I mistook for bricks. My parents have a brown briefcase and my birth certificate is inside. It's hidden in their house somewhere, but where exactly? That's a secret. I have a laptop bag by the fireplace. I put important things in there too. And a bench by the living room, and a basket of medicine above the fridge, and the bath mat hangs where it always does, but this time it is brown. And this next poem is a really short excerpt, from my book that was just released. And it's about a boycott action that took place in Oakland in 2010 and is very similar to boycott actions that were taking place in late last year and early this year. So I would like to pay homage to the amazing organizers that were rallying in those actions. What is dawn good for? A beautiful cusp, a veil for construction, a lift for surprise. Gather at dawn. 500 gather at dawn, picket the port of Oakland, block a ship and its boxes. It's morning, then it's afternoon, then it's 6 p.m. and still the ship floats bloated in the belly of the bay. Keep it heavy, massive. Leave it no choice but to spit up and spit out in glorious explosion in plains of non-existence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hasib. My arms were getting tired, so I'm bringing it back to the podium. Next up, we have Paul Kelly again. You've already seen him, you've already heard from him, you already love him. Put your hands together.
This is the other bookend to what I've read before, and it's a new song. It's a love song from a child to a father, I guess. I came up in folk music where words and phrases and melodies, titles swim around from song to song. So quite often I write a song and there's a line in it that's come from somewhere else. That's the case with this one. There's a line in there from one of the most popular English poems ever. So you can keep an ear out for that if you want. Maybe, Laurent, just turn this guitar down a little bit, please. It's called Going to the River with Dad. That's the title of the song. I'm going to the river with Dad. In the kitchen, the old kettle singing. I'm gonna get up soon and get out of bed. Outside, the cockatoos are calling. I'm going to the river with Dad. I'm half awake and half dreaming. Now we're driving down that old bumpy track. Between us, the thermos of sweet tea steaming. Lines and spears and bait up the back. That old river appearing and disappearing. Yeah, I'm going to the river with Dad. All my brothers and sisters are still sleeping. Yeah, we're going for the good silver mullet. At the back of the boat I'm steering. Dad's standing up front with his spear, deep into the mangroves peering. I gotta keep my tiller hand steady. I don't wanna see my daddy stumbling and falling. Yeah, I'm going down the river with Dad. With the song of the birds in the morning. He's long gone, I've passed his span, but myself against him I'm still measuring, aiming for the mark of a man, sometimes hitting it, sometimes missing, and trying to fill the unforgiven minute with a full 60 seconds of living. Yeah, I'm still on the river with Dad. with the bird song bringing the dawn in.
Give it up one more time for Paul Kelly. I had a song prepared as well, but I won't do it now after that. So thanks so much, Paul. Next up, we have Rob Waters. Yeah. Rob is a Gamaroi man with deep cultural connections to the northwest of New South Wales, who now lives with his partner on Darkinjung country. He's the 2023 Australian Poetry Slam champion and a storyteller, cultural educator, and spoken word artist who's been performing and sharing stories in Sydney for over 20 years. Give it up for Rob Waters.
I will speak now. I will speak now, and you will listen. I will speak my stories, older than time itself, in the voices of my grandmothers and grandfathers, yet I will speak in your words, speak in your language. Are you listening? You see, the blood of my mother and all those mothers before her still runs strong inside of me. The tears that fell from my father's eyes and all those fathers before him still fall from my eyes. For I am a poem, and I am a story. I'm my grandmother's raising children in a country that did not even see them as human. I'm my grandfather's calloused hands and bent backs working for men that could not even see them as human. I'm my uncle's voices raised. I'm my auntie's fists raised. I'm the story that seeps up through the soles of my feet, bursting out through my tongue. They swim on the rays of the sun. You see, I am raised. And I'm a story still yet to be told for the tongues of my children and all those that follow. From the first sunrise to the first sunrise, again I am raised. For I am Gomeroi, I am Bunjalung, I am Gumbaynggirr, I am Anawan. I am 600 nations strong, and from this time on, I will tell my story, just as you have told yours. Over and over, I've heard it. I've heard it from school teachers and university lecturers, heard it from policemen and television sets. I've heard it from newspapers and history books or his storybooks. But I will speak now. I will speak now, and you will listen. Thank you so much. Before I read the next one, I just want to acknowledge Gadigal, give my most humble love and respect to Gadigal country, and thank it for being here and for allowing us to be here. I acknowledge her custodians, those ones that have taken care of this place, have taken care of story for the last countless generations, so that we can come here and tell story. Uncle Michael, thank you so much for your welcome when you touched on this idea of truth-telling. I hear it about a fair bit, truth-telling this, truth-telling that. For more generations than I can count, Aboriginal people have been telling the truth on country. We do not need truth-telling, we need truth-listening. We need people to be able to listen to our truth as we have spoken it for however many generations, and then figure, what do we do with the truth? This next one's called Festival Breakfast, and I just want to send a shout out to Paul Kelly. Thanks for opening for me, brother. I joke. Far out. It's a pinch. I'm stuck between pinch me and what the hell have I got myself into? So I'm just rambling. This one's called Festival Breakfast. Multi-grained sourdough. Roasted pumpkin topped in seeds soaked in honey and chili. Coffee black and bitter like I at times. This juice as sweet as her I miss. Famous faces sit within arm's reach with thick black framed glasses, linen clothing and sideways glances that ask me, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? We've always been here. Just like Auntie who sits just across the road, draped in black tracksuits, stitched with sadness and wanting, she peers through bay windows at pumpkin lattes and program festivals. Her skin as black as coffee, eyes twice as bitter. To her, I look much the same as them. Yet through thick black-framed glasses, it is not just her, but I that does not belong here. I'm a picture frame sitting slightly sideways, begging to be straightened. I'm a doorway left ajar, a dripping tap, a mere inconvenience. Not even a visitor, an outsider, an intruder, interrupting interludes of cups of coffee, baked eggs, and pomegranate seeds. We catch each other's eye, old Auntie and I. And a simple nod is all it takes. You see, later they will acknowledge country. They will pay their respects to elders past, present, and sometimes emerging. And they will return here to walk past Auntie, sitting just across the road as she shakes her cup. And we wait for change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rob, for those very powerful pieces. I got shivers up and down my spine. I was like, this is good, this is good. Next up, we have Simon Armitage. Simon is the UK Poet Laureate and former Oxford Professor of Poetry. He's published 9 full-length collections, as well as best-selling memoirs, travel books, and translations. His numerous prizes include the Ivor Novello Award for Songwriting. Please put your hands together for Simon.
It's a long way from over there. I don't mean Yorkshire, I mean that seat. I might get that on a T-shirt. Actually, it's got a sort of Buddhist ring to it. It's a long way from over there. I was at a festival a couple of years ago, and I saw somebody wearing a T-shirt, and it said on it, "Don't follow me, you'll end up back at our house." That's very good. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and it's an absolute privilege as well. And I'd just like to thank everybody who's given me permission and their blessings to come and practice the ancient and sacred art of poetry in this ancient and sacred land. So thank you very much. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting. At this moment in time, we'd like to invite first-class passengers only to board the aircraft. Thank you for waiting. We now extend our invitation to exclusive, superior, privilege and Excelsior members, followed by triple, double and single platinum members, followed by gold and silver card members, followed by Pearl and Coral Club members. Military personnel in uniform may also board at this time. Thank you for waiting. We now invite Bronze Alliance members and passengers enrolled in our Rare Earth Metals Points and Rewards scheme. Please come forward, and thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting. Accredited beautiful people may now board. Plus any gentleman carrying a copy of this month's Cigar Aficionado magazine, plus subscribers to our Red Diamond, Black Opal or Blue Garnet promotions. We also welcome Sapphire, Ruby and Emerald members at this time, followed by Amethyst, Onyx, Obsidian, Jet, Topaz and Quartz members. Priority lane customers, fast track customers, chosen elite customers, preferred access customers and first among equals customers may now also board. On production of a valid receipt, travellers of elegance and style wearing designer and or hand-tailored clothing to a minimum value of $10,000 may now board. Passengers in possession of items of jewellery, including wristwatches, with a retail purchase price greater than the average annual salary of a mid-career high school teacher are also welcome to board. Also welcome at this time are passengers talking loudly into cell phone headsets about recently completed share deals, property acquisitions and aggressive takeovers, plus hedge fund managers with proven track records in the undermining of small to medium-sized ambitions. Passengers in classes loam, chalk, marl and clay may also board. Customers who have purchased our Dignity or Morning Orchid packages may now collect their sanitised shell suits prior to boarding. Thank you for waiting. Mediocre passengers are now invited to board, followed by passengers lacking business acumen or genuine leadership potential, followed by people of little or no consequence, followed by people operating at a net fiscal loss as people. Those holding tickets for zones rust, mulch, cardboard, puddle and sand might now want to begin gathering their tissues and crumbs prior to embarkation. Passengers either partially or wholly dependent on welfare or kindness, please have your travel coupons validated at the quarantine desk. Sweat, dust, shoddy, scurf, feces, chaff, remnant, ash, pus, sludge, clinker, splinter and soot. All you people are now free to board. Thank you for waiting. Thank you very much. I just finished with this short poem, which was written as a song lyric. I was asked by a record producer to respond to a provocation, which was, do we really care? And I just wrote back to him and said, well, what do you think? And then this followed some time later. I'm curious, because to show mercy once in a blue moon only makes the unforgiving more furious. As if kindness and grace were ethereal rare gifts in the realm of the luxurious. As if there was something hard and remote at the core of the human nucleus. Despite compassion and tenderness, making the darkest of souls almost perfectly luminous. I've sensed some creature not far from the surface, cold-blooded, imperious, with a heart like a cannonball lost in an ocean trench, stony, impervious. A lodestone lodged in the brain and locked on a bad star that brings out the worst in us. Look at me, God's gift to graffiti, spell-checking, injurious. Look at you, joyriding the soft-topped hearse all the way to the terminus. Here we go, planting our poppies, then torching the forest, carelessly, serious. Meanwhile, we're crowding the brink of the lip, of the cusp, of the rim, of the next Vesuvius, trying to flag down a passing planet or mothership, failing to lip read the universe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. Next up, we have Pascalle Burton. Pascalle is a Meanjin-based experimental poet and performer with an interest in conceptual art and cultural theory. She also plays in the band The Stress of Leisure. Her collection, About the Author is Dead, is available through Cordite Books. Please put your hands together for Pascalle.
Thank you for waiting. I'm visiting from Meanjin, and I pay my deep respects to the traditional custodians of the land where I'm staying and to all First Nations people in this space. And thank you to Izzy for being my PowerPoint person. What has been said by many and has often been said after Cicero's speeches on the agrarian law? 1. Stirring up trouble, putting up a notice of the sale, this forest in the list of neglected possessions, it is unfair. 2. He does not let a single item pass. The sale of what belongs to the... They order the lands of the end to be sold. The territories acquired by that most excellent and fruitful land of, added to the revenues of, and afterwards the lands which become possessions. Then they sell itself. 3. To sell wherever, to sell piecemeal, to sell them, to take money for not selling. They left the city as private individuals on private business, excessively avaricious, unrestricted and unlimited. 4. Listen, listen. They hope much so that they may be free, but the law attacks. So carefully hidden, they are draining. They are laying violent hands upon, let loose on the world with great power, as if we do not understand. 5. First, who can fail to see? Secondly, I am afraid. 6. A place which is said to have given birth to pride and cruelty, to rank and fortune, henchmen and insolence, walls and tyranny, wholly disastrous. 7. How is it armed? The law itself allows them to conduct as they wish in any towns they please. It does not lose its value in time of war. 8. Such things as these, they have given hope to the wicked. In the midst of this confusion, we shall find nothing but the cunning fraud of the law. 9. Be prudent in the midst of danger, the danger of the internal and domestic. Hidden wounds are formed. What power is to be restored? This is called From the Relaxation All the Way to the Tension, from the tension all the way to the relaxation. And it's after Ali Mackay's Failure is Not an Option. Reach, reach, sweep, believe, release. Reach, reach, sweep, believe, release. Reach and sweep, believe, release, debris, debris, cascade of debris. Reach, reach, debris, sweep, believe, release debris. Believe debris, reach debris, sweep, believe, debris. To the tension, from the tension. Is this the one from before? The one before is not now. Now it is the one, but not the one not from before. What is the value of the one now? Not the same value as the one before, or before that, or before. Louise Erdrich wrote, "Life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that, and being alone won't either, for solitude will also break you with its yearning. You have to love, you have to feel. It is the reason you are here on earth." Waking and being awake are not the same. How many artworks of sleeping women exist? How many people wear watches that just tell the time? Jenny Odell said, "I want to be in contact with things that make me feel alive. I have a specific definition of alive, which is I want to feel like I am being changed. I will be different in the future, therefore I have a reason to live, which is to find out what that change is going to be." We move and rest, generating and perishing. ING verbs have a progressive tense. They are in active voice. Here are some examples. I am converting my energy into linear momentum. I am reliving the tragedies of my childhood in new contexts. The people are still marching. The rock is still rolling. That last one is from Albert Camus' essay, The Myth of Sisyphus. Camus says that the moment Sisyphus returns to the bottom of the hill to push the boulder up yet again is the hour of consciousness when Sisyphus is stronger than the rock. Camus also said, creating is living doubly. I am thinking. To try is to believe something will move, and that failure is a forward motion filled with desire.
Thank you so much, Pascalle. And so amazing to see a poem. English is so fantastic, but a poem being read with, visual prompts. I love that. Next up, we have Chika Ikogwe. I've heard she's really cool. This is actually a poem that Red Room commissioned me to write for Poetry Month. It's called Let That Black Lady Breathe. If you are, in fact, a black lady or a person with a heart, hopefully some of this resonates. I'm a woman. I'm a black woman. I'm a dark-skinned black woman. Yeah. And oftentimes I feel like people are saying, somebody shut that black lady up. Yeah, like they've heard enough. Yeah, like I don't deserve to speak up. Yeah, like they want me to suffer silently, smiling through disrespect to help them live comfortably. Yeah, like in society, I could be minding my own business on a regular Ask Tuesday, but then I'm considered cold for not going out of my way to do what exactly? Exactly, I'm just as confused as you are. Yeah, like I could be celebrating a win, taking a moment to acknowledge the girl in this skin doesn't have it easy, yet manages to thrive, not just survive. But then somehow I'm considered extra. I'm doing too much. I'm being too much. Oh, she's a little arrogant if you ask me. Wish she could just go about things humbly. Yeah, like when I go to the doctor and grumble about a pain. Oh, I've got this thing, doc. I always feel drained. It's like they don't hear me and everything I'm saying is false. In one ear and out the other. You don't even want to check me? Run a test, review my pulse? Yeah, as if I don't gaslight myself every other day. Am I too much? Do I really deserve this? Maybe my hair is too big. You're blocking the view. Squash it down, sis. I don't have that Beyonce figure. I don't have the right kind of curves. Am I always angry? Or did the misogynoir get on my last nerve? Somebody give that black lady a break. Somebody please listen to her. Somebody tell that black lady anger belongs to her too. She doesn't need to smile in the face of adversity, boo. Somebody tell that black lady to celebrate loud and clear. She just wants to make sure her ancestors can hear. Somebody tell that black lady she doesn't need to be perfect. No matter what she does or who she is, she still deserves respect. Somebody, anybody, let that black lady breathe. Wow, thank you so much, Chika. That was truly something special. Thank you. A pay rise, if I could say so myself. Next up, we have Dan Hogan. Dan is the author of Secret Third Thing, which won the 5 Island Prize, and was shortlisted for the Mary Gilmore Award. Dan's poetry has been recognised by Peter Porter Poetry Prize, Judith Wright Poetry Prize, XYZ Prize, and the Val Vallis Award, amongst others. In their spare time, Dan runs small DIY publisher Subbed In. Please put your hands together for Dan.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. I want to acknowledge that tonight's extravaganza is happening on unceded Gadigal country. I want to extend warmth and solidarity to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people present tonight. May justice prevail in our lifetime. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. It's been interesting listening to all the wonderful performance tonight, and I'm been thinking about the position of poetry, and it made me. So I grew up on Awabakal and Darkin Jung land, and before that, generations before that, my family goes back to Ireland. And in Ireland, prior to colonisation, it was a society organised along lines of poetry. There was no police, there was no judges, there was no political parties, there was poets. So if you had a quarrel or a quandary, let's say, I don't know, your neighbour was taking liberties with your peat bog, you would go to the poet, and the poet would give you a poem. And if that didn't work, you would go back to the poet, and the poet would give you a riddle. And anyway, that's all to say thanks heaps to Red Room for enlivening and putting poetry on that pedestal. And this first poem is called Blade of Grass, Meadow of Knives. Summer equals cicada scream plus other superimpositions, hung in the air like an idea of bunting, but never the worsted wool. I'm no mathematician, but who is? Nobody in this poor excuse for a nondescript prism hurtling birthday toward your 10th coffee is free. A pop-out cake is a large prop designed to resemble a cake in which a person emerges to the surprise of outsiders. Innovation and jobs and growth have seen a little seat inside. When the alarm went off this morning, I wasn't yet the genealogy of an image, but who is who? Everybody inside a pop-out cake has two wolves inside them. Both are domesticated. One is a Chihuahua Pomeranian cross. The other is red. Anyway, there is no gimmick like home. I once knew a Pomeranian who, despite the limits of their form, taught me bagel is short for baby angel. I digress. But also, when in Rome, stuff a pie full of doves and frogs and have them burst forth for your guests. This is all to say grief is a detour. When in Rome, I desire for this loss to manifest as something, anything handsome in writing, but all I've got is this fixation on pop-out cakes, and the loudest cicadas are the ones who stayed in the ground the longest. But don't take my word for it. Ear to the ground until the lawn's urge has cut through to the other side. Blade of grass, meadow of knives. Find a veranda and wait. See what I'm saying? When in the yard, ask yourself, what fangs out of the bracken with a head full of garden? The answer, and everything on this page, is... Thank you. This poem is called No Alarms. Give the brigalows time to impersonate metal. Fold the final reminders like bed sheets. Ignore the echoes. Are you revolted the right way? Mosquito into the tidiest corruptions. Zap. Soak the stains. Ear against the wall. Diagnose water hammer. Put the email address here if you are sending a copy you do not want the other recipients to see. It is always home time somewhere, but don't tell anyone. Come bearing data. Using techniques, never live it down. Somewhere a landlord is kissing another landlord. Please clap. Consider the executive sated. Boil the kettle, pour the tea, pray for meteorites. Oblivion coldens quickly when there is no one to take a photo. Steam tentacles stopping in the air. Nobody actually knows how to count to 10. Fake it till you make it. Quake-happy fault lines at the edge of the whole disgusting sky. Please clap. Not tired, just playing with my 8-ball eyes. Misery during the work shirt donning process. Head hole problems before breakfast. A curse nexus. That feeling when it's Thursday all day. The best part of being stuck in traffic on your way home from work is being late to the work you have to do for work after work. Clouds standing sentinel with their rain bodies above Old Guildford. The sky is about to happen. Please clap. Would you say your depression has a purpose? The air might be air-conditioned, but who is ringing the bell? Ignore the previous email. This meal needs a nap. Please remember me to your boss and payroll manager. Dead leaves on the bonnet, new window wipers work. Couldn't sleep because dreams were movies that kept rewinding. Running early for once. Do yourself a favour and don't. Please clap. Do X number of things for Y number of means. Portending the spectre of an ending. Remember to send me your bank account details for dinner. Emit an electricity of unshakable compliance until the dawn of a new contract. Slurp, slurp, locomotion and food and why, false mirror enabled, so on and so forth. What is the warmest document type? What is the opposite of a chandelier? Is it fern spores, submission without the act of submission? 10 days sick leave, a multiplicity of forces with no discernible origin. The doctors will call this a way of being on medication. Reports are due. No time to grieve for lost futures. TGIF. Please clap. And please actually clap, I'm finished. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Stan. Please clap. Clap, come on guys. Obviously for Dan. Next up we have Lorna Munro, or Yilini. Lorna is a Wiradjuri and Gamilaroi woman, multidisciplinary artist and regular radio podcast host at Sydney's Radio Skid Row. A long-time active member of her Redfern and Waterloo community, her work is informed by her passion and well-studied insight in areas such as culture, history, politics and popular culture. Her work has appeared in anthologies such as Guyawai and Solid Air, Australia and New Zealand spoken word. Please put your hands together for Lorna.
Thank you. Let me just muck around with everything and touch everything. It was pronounced Gawayu, my dearest Chika. Thank you. I was a bit confused. I don't want to ramble on because everyone who knows me knows that I will. Shout out to my big cousin walking around taking photos in the back. I think, I chose a poem. I'm going to do two for you today. I chose a poem that I think was really the bouquet, the offering that was the catalyst that kick-started a 12-year-long relationship with myself and Red Room Company, ushered in by people like Ali, and ushered in by people like Uncle Lionel Fogarty, who was already in those spaces and made space for me as a young poet. He also likes to call me the poet laureate of Redfern. So, I don't care whoever wins this position, because my uncles believe that that's me, where I'm from. So, anyway, this poem was the first professional piece that I've ever written. Kickstarted a lot for myself and Red Room, I think. It is about Government House. It's called Dripping with Decadence. Big house, big lies, Gubna, white government. Contorted Melaleuca, conveniently furnished with second-hand decadence. Will society ever speak of the secret deals that were made in order to showcase marble reminiscent of all the blood that was laid? Fireplaces speckled with red, yellow and black, a permanent reminder that refuses to fade back. Arch windows, towers, huge ornate door, makes me sick to my stomach like my heart just hit the floor. I don't comprehend it. This makes my head sore. When I think about no one seeing beauty in what was here before. The cliffs, the white sand, beach and the shore. My people gathered here upon the first sunrise for ceremony and law. Dreams of magnificent ridgelines intercepting highways like a slow urban scrawl, connected sites of significance, intricate rock carvings, middens 40 feet tall. But these wonders have disappeared. They're not here anymore. I have retained my identity of that I am sure, inheritance, dispossession, pain and poverty, against the calls of a mixed race progeny. While you were left to inherit the bounty of the colony, I am discriminated against on an hourly rate. While you and your ignorant spawn continue to spew hate, I live on the breadline every day as a hustle, while you parade around with your iPhones and tell me to tighten my bustle. 12 years later, I got one, people. You persecuted my people because of religious beliefs, initiated alien hierarchies, kidnapping puppets, calling them honorary chiefs. Architects of this great nation, nothing but glorified thieves. Terra nullius, no one here so we can do as we please. Genocide, massacre, they all hide behind the wall, wandering upon stamps of gold in damp, dark places leading to a grand hall, a lineup of history's menacing faces, regal and ready for the Jubilee Ball. Crystal chandeliers, floral patterns, manicured lawns. Death and destruction devised in the drawing room by appointed pawns. How many lies are locked away under that vaulted ceiling? The English called it a discovery. I call it what it is, stealing. Indigenous vegetation and population cleared, paradise paved with relics to construct your big house, resistance was feared. legacy of lies spanning 11 generations, languages forced to extinction as well as many great nations. Your monument to a foreign power and foreign queen was built on land that never was yours and never ever will be. Peaceful settlement, an even bigger lie to hide their crimes. How many dead? How many more sacrificed? How many brave warriors paid the ultimate price to build the big house of ghosts on a hill? Still today, your little white lies kill. And that one was going straight to the home of the colonisers. Thanks, Red Room. This last piece I'm going to share today, I wanted to intro by picking up Rob's patterns in his work, and I wanted to say and start this poem by now I am speaking my tongue and you will listen. I had to teach myself Wiradjuri after the many generations of matriarchs before me were told that they weren't allowed to, living on missions in this country, which were no better than concentration camps. This is probably the first poem completely written in Wiradjuri language, and it is very special. Nyadu wanandirinya wurujuluru. Tugui dara marambang gunjari, nyadin balagatilin, nyadu goanguyang wurambu mara, guanbu maratorbu jagan, jin jagan, garanari yananabiya, marandu baladu, bu dara baladu, nyadu guninila, galbana wira, nulumungu, nyanagu nila nyandu, yurang dambira, murupurai bu bandur, Mandira manang, bu ninyagur, yinyam biladine, maramaldine, gu gunjigeng. Nila, nyadu, mamei bumara, wargamba. Wargamba nini, burambinya, bin. Winangay ganana, nyanandi, nyadu, wananjurinya, warajuluru. Bukila, nyadu, Kiramana, Jin, Bunji Bunjigen, Marang, Nyanandi, Dalman Biragu, Dalabanabu, Monandale, Guwayu, Nyadu, Girinindi, Gu Mabinya, Wanangarabu, Wayambinya, Girimana, Ganambara Girodu, Bukila, Nyadu, Babangikangi, Marandu, Ninana Wayarawi. Ganambara Marambu. Bu Ninya Gabagalia Ninya Gur. Wananjurinya Wurujuluru. I did not disconnect properly. The shadow has cast on sin. My veins pump through blood, rocks and dirt, the same dirt, land we are walking in. Living in, breathing in and eating. My mother, she knows no bounds, for it is she who spits rain, thunder and lightning hitting the very ground, and its man-made foundations. It is she who holds the key to my bodily functions and mortal memory. I did not disconnect properly, and so I continue on this vicious cycle fed by malfunction and rage. Soon enough, I'll need to be rebooted, turned off, then on again, in the hope that I can live the dream, work efficiently, and be like everybody else, disconnected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Last but not least, we have Princess Arinola Adegbite. She's a surrealist poet and musician who explores identity. Her awards include Manchester Young Creative of the Year in 2023. Her poetry has been commissioned by BBC, Selfridges, Chanel, and the University of Cambridge. Please put your hands together for Princess.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. I feel really grateful to be in First Nation land. It's so beautiful in Australia. Like, it's so warm as well. And I was told it was going to be cold, that it was winter, so I was so relieved. But I want to say a massive thank you to BBC, Red Room, to Sue Roberts and Simon, because I wouldn't be here. And I'm so excited because I'm all the way from Manchester, and this is so different. Like, it's warm. But yeah, so this poem is called Data of the Stars. I hope you like it. The data of the stars, a dying art, a dying art. The world ended, and we played a deck of cards. Freckled cosmos like a Pollock painting. Snow falls in slow motion. The world is a museum. We too are inklings of its wisdom. Neurons out of rhythm, algorithms programmed by televisions. Cities of ash. The data of the stars, a dying art. Two Friedas holding hands. The intuition of a poem. My brain's an app. Loading in my synapse, a cricket on my eyelash, my patch of grass. The secrets of the universe stored in my iris, black hole. The glass sky is fragile, but also a window. Opera on vinyl, a blue note. I wear ocean, cologne, perfume, time spins like a whirlpool. Light me up, my mind's a candle. Light me up, my heart is shrapnel. We exist as exit wounds, creating outlooks. Cutting the earth in half, scooping out the marrow. We exist as a wound. Maybe we'll save tomorrow. It's in our bones, it's in our cold, hot and cold, desert snow, light and shadow. Everything I own is borrowed. Let it go, let it go, let it go, ego. Sometimes I feel I'm just a full stop, a black hole. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna come here for this one. This is a newer poem. It's called I Saw You in a Dream Before We Met. It's kind of a love poem to dreams. Some dreams are about jobs, some dreams are about love, some dreams are about revolution and all of the above. And I wanted to explore dreams because I feel like public dreaming is important. It makes us remember that we can create whatever world we want and create a kinder world for everyone, a world that respects Indigenous people, working class people, disabled people, LGBT people, and everyone who's ever felt invisible. I saw you in a dream before we met. One day, we'll make confetti out of passports. There'll be no borders. I'll sit in the taxi of a man whose dream is to plant trees, to help the earth breathe. He'll tell me, I don't always want to drive cars. His eyes are evergreen, no signs of pollution. Today I place him inside a stanza. Enter the room inside words, return for a week. I think of the boy who adopts a small tree, takes it with him so he can hold what's still living while his city is under siege. I ask people, what is your dream? I listen to the answer. Synonyms of being free or future, syllables walking on the air. I hold hands with strangers. We are both visitors in the country of our hurt. My lover builds a computer, finds me through his screen, pulls out my body, and now I'm next to him, next of kin, watching Inception on the television. I had a dream of us laughing before we met. That's how I knew his smile was gospel, when he held me like a memory. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Princess. That concludes the performances for this evening. Please put your hands together for all of the amazing artists that performed today. Please also put your hands together for the amazing AUSLAN interpreters. It might be the last one, maybe not. Put your hands together for Red Room. Maybe now this is the last one. Put your hands together for the library. And now one last one for yourselves. Thank you all so much for coming. The shop and the bookshop and the bar are going to be open, so please feel free to check those out as you're leaving today. There's also a full day of free programming that you can book for via the Red Room Poetry website. All of the programs that are running tomorrow being Friday, and all of the other events that are running for Poetry Month. Thank you so much again. Have a great evening. I don't know how to send you off. Bye.
For Chika's hosting. Come on, make some fucking, come on. Amazing. Make some noise. I'm one of the artistic directors of Red Room. Somebody has lost a mobile phone. If you want to come and see me or someone in a red shirt, we can give it back. And there are surveys and a survey QR code out the front. If you do it and put your email in, you're in the running for a signed copy, personally signed copy of Paul Kelly's, we have 5 of them, poetry album. Thank you so much for coming.